We'll start off with a circuit replacement. What track's going, what track's coming in?
So the circuit to Catalonia, the Barcelona, the Spanish Grand Prix as it is at the moment, it looks set to be gone in 2026. That's when its contract runs out, and it looks like it's going to be replaced by the Madrid Grand Prix. It's a street circuit, obviously not a specifically race circuit. It's going to be a temporary sort of thing, a little bit like Las Vegas. I think it's going to be semi-permanent.
Yeah, sort of a purpose-built half-street circuit in Madrid. Emmy, what are your thoughts? Obviously, we have to say goodbye to the circuit to Barcelona, Catalonia. You know, hello to another street circuit on the calendar. Are you sad to see Barcelona go, or are you sort of like many people in thinking that it didn't really deliver great racing and it's nice to be off the calendar?
I am very sad about it, actually. Barcelona is my favourite city in the whole wide world. I love Barcelona. So to see it getting replaced by Madrid, it is sad, but again, I had this thoughts about Vegas. You know, we don't need another street circuit. However, Vegas came and it delivered, certainly. So it will be interesting to see it on the grid. However, I will massively miss Barcelona. And a little food for thought that it's Catalonia, it's not even Spain, so why don't we have both? Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's actually something that they've said. I think I saw someone involved in the FIA or Formula One, something like that, said it's not guaranteed that the Barcelona Grand Prix is going to go. Yeah. That hasn't been something that's been confirmed, so you never know. We could see a Catalonia Grand Prix and a Spanish Grand Prix.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Maybe one of them could be called the European Grand Prix again.
Yeah,
like
that'd be great. Yeah.
I don't really want that, to be honest. I think they should just have one or the other. Mm-hmm. I'm not a huge fan of the Spanish Grand Prix as it is at the Circuit de Catalunya. It's not always the best racing. It's sometimes a little bit dull. I think this year was a little bit better with the circuit layout changes. But I don't like how, I don't think countries at the moment, especially in Europe, should have more than one Grand Prix. When you think about France and Germany, and the amount of good tracks there are in Germany especially, and they don't have a Grand Prix, yet we could have two in Spain, sort of Spain thing. I just don't see what that would do for Formula One in terms of, reaching out global brand sort of thing like that, but also just from a personal perspective, I think it should be in France and Germany, things like that, not two in Spain.
No, I'm with you.
I wouldn't mind both, but then obviously again it would be how many races would they have on the calendar if they just add another one in, and it will get to a point where there's just so many already. I think 23, and maybe is it 24
it was supposed
next
to be 24,
year?
24 this season. Obviously the Shanghai Grand Prix got cancelled, and Imola as well.
Like if you're getting more than that it does get to a point where it's, I mean, as a fan, it's not that bad because obviously, it's not me. It's not like I'm getting tired from watching so much TV. Yeah. But you do have to feel for all the crew and obviously the environmental effects and things like that. So there does get to a point where there just are too many, and arguably there already are too many. Yeah. And just adding another one would just be a bit odd. So I think they should have one or the other. And I am sort of for the Madrid layout. So there were a couple of rumoured layouts. I think it's going to get confirmed in January. It was the latest today. I can't really judge a layout, I don't think, because I don't think anyone can at the moment, especially when you look at Vegas. And everyone thought it was going to be awful. I have no idea. Until we see cars on it, I can't really say how good it's going to be. So I don't know.
Personally, I am quite nervous that this is going to become a trend, though, in each country where, let's say Silverstone, there was the proposal about a London, it was just it was a proposal, but a London Grand Prix. And imagine we had to change Silverstone to a London. It just, and losing these tracks, and it just feels like a money thing, because obviously cities like Madrid, obviously Vegas, the amount of money they would have paid to have the rights to have that Grand Prix there for 10 years, it just feels like it's a bit of a
cash grab sort of thing.
Cash grab, absolutely. And Formula One's obviously at the minute seems to be just looking for money, Liberty Media, and it'd be devastating if that became a trend. Where it would, I don't know, but we've seen that with Vegas. We're now seeing it with Spain. Who's next in a way?
And we've already seen it sort of with Germany.
Yeah,
the two obvious historic tracks there, both off the calendar.
Rumours about Monaco.
Exactly.
Rumours about
Spa as well. And these are all circuits that you do have to keep something of the history of Formula One. I know you should always be looking to evolve, but you do need to keep the core roots of it. And I think going completely away from just actual racing circuits to all just generic sort of, no, they're not generic, but just sort of made up sort of circuits with no history, I'm not a huge fan of that.
No, I mean, I get both of your points completely. It is a shame to see, a big part of F1's history go, because, you wouldn't think that the Barcelona circuit has a lot of history in Formula One, but it has been on the calendar for quite some time. And obviously one of the most iconic moments ever in F1. the 3 identical qualifying times in 1997, Jacques Villeneuve, Michael Schumacher, and then who was the third one? Was it Nick Heidfeld, or have I got that wrong? But something like that. 3 drivers getting identical pole times at that circuit, and then obviously the championship fight in 1997 between Jacques Villeneuve and Michael Schumacher. There we go, eventually. And but I mean, they've tried to make the racing more entertaining there. It's no secret that it has been pretty poor over the last few years. I remember when it was the sort of period of Mercedes domination, I just wouldn't bother with the Spanish Grand Prix because, apart from the occasional, wonder lap from Bottas, it was not particularly entertaining to watch. And then they made it a little bit better with the circuit alterations. Obviously, I'm not thinking of sort of more MotoGP style of track, but it didn't really do enough to warrant it maybe keeping it on the calendar for quite some time. And in terms of street circuit layouts that I've seen, F1 introduced into, you look at Las Vegas and Miami, etc., I have the most sort of promise, I suppose. I have the most faith in this Madrid circuit layout. It certainly looks like the most interesting, the most diverse layout of the ones that F1 have released in recent years. You look back to circuits, even like ones that they never used, like the Hanoi circuit, if you remember that. It looks, that generated some great racing on the F1 game, but that's all we got from it. Yeah. And it looks as though Madrid could offer some sort of, decent racing. But I don't know how tight the streets are. I've not seen it on like a street view, so I can't really make a good comment on it. But someone who can is Karun Chandok. I saw a tweet that he put out about it, and he is someone who is hugely involved in sort of has a huge passion for track and circuit layout designs, and he's been very critical in the past of particularly Tilke circuits, which everyone seems to be getting sort of more and more aggravated over as they release more as Hermann Tilke releases more and more terrible tracks. But he seemed to be very happy to see the Barcelona circuit off the calendar in place of what doesn't look like a terrible layout, basically, to summarise. But yeah, no, I mean, it is a shame that all this time, I'm with you, Amy, it's a shame that it's not considered the Catalan Grand Prix as well, because, obviously there's plenty of history there that we won't delve into. But, you call that the European Grand Prix. We've had that in the past with like the Valencia circuit. That was the European Grand Prix alongside the Circuit de Barcelona Catalonia as well. So, I don't know, I mean, but then again, Seb, going back to your point about how it's a bit too crowded on the calendar, there are, far too many races now, unfortunately. For us, it's great to have more racing, but, again, for the drivers, it's too grueling, really. And for the teams as well, it will cost them a lot of money, especially for teams like when Andretti and Audi come in, maybe with sort of limited resources to begin with. They will really struggle if the calendar sort of extends and grows and gets larger and larger and longer and longer. And so, maybe cutting down on some of the deadwood circuits isn't a terrible idea. We've just got to hope that this Madrid circuit provides some excellent racing, just like Las Vegas did, and hopefully not like Miami hasn't done, basically. So that's the they're my thoughts on that, really. It is a bit of a sort of sweet and sour type thing, but I mean, I'm not too upset about the Catalonia circuit's departure. But I think there's nothing else fun on the news. Well,
there's one thing. I did see that apparently it's going to be F1 want it to be the first European night race.
European night race, interesting.
That is true. You forget there's no night race in Europe.
Which would obviously that'd be exciting. It'd be something new.
Yeah.
And it would be interesting to see. Obviously Europe is a little bit colder. Obviously Spain's not exactly the coldest place. But it depends when they schedule it for. You'd assume obviously in the European season it'll be in the summer.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Does anyone know about how hot Madrid is at night time?
I've been there in April and it wasn't too cold, so that's specifically Barcelona as well. So obviously not Madrid, but yeah. I mean, that would be cool having a night race. I mean, if it works, it wouldn't be Vegas levels of cold.
No.
Obviously, because it's not. To my knowledge, it's not in a desert in the middle of Madrid. My Spanish geography is not the best, but I'm pretty sure Madrid isn't surrounded by sand. Yeah. So it should be. It sounds pretty safe to have it at night. Amy, you seem like you.
No, Barcelona's just normally the first European race that they hold, isn't it?
That's
it's
true.
Always slightly earlier. They have testing there.
Excluding like Imola now.
Well.
They've had Imola recently, but
but they have testing in Barcelona, which would be weird to see where out, because obviously they've used Qatar, is it?
They did use Qatar and they didn't broadcast it annoyingly.
But they have also used Barcelona through COVID, weren't they? So maybe that's just. But you've got the Barcelona curse as well that you're forgetting.
Of course, the
That'll
Barcelona
be
curse.
that you'll never know now. It'll be gone from F1, a race from history. Maybe that's why they're doing it.
Conspiracy theory.
Maybe. I mean, he obviously also had the that weird crash that sort of a lot of people put down to the reason why he's still able to compete at such a high level. Back in, was it 2016?
Yeah, that's weird.
That weird conspiracy. For those of you unaware, so I think it was 2016 while Alonso was driving for McLaren. He was testing for them in the Barcelona preseason testing, all completely routine. And then he sort of, I think it was, is it turn 9? The sort of the uphill right-hander before the second, or technically the first DRS straight. And then he hit the wall in what looked like a pretty, bad, but nothing out of the ordinary crash. But he was completely unconscious. He was not responding to anything. They rushed him to hospital. And then when he eventually woke up, he had a weird sort of memory loss and didn't speak Spanish. He was speaking fluent Italian and thinking, when am I going to get him back in the Ferrari? And so take this conspiracy theory with a pinch of salt, but people think that Fernando Alonso lost a few years of his sort of mental age in this crash. And that's why he's still able to perform at such a high level at the age of 42, because really he's more like a 37-year-old, say someone Lewis Hamilton's age, and so that's interesting sort of food for your thought. There you go. We'll reuse that phrase. But 2026 is the rumours for Madrid, is it not?
And that exactly coincides with the
new regulations when Audi should be coming in as well. And so a lot of change lined up for 2026. Although I do hope they do keep Barcelona for the pre-season testing track, because it is quite a well-rounded circuit. You can gain a lot of data from testing around tracks like Barcelona. Elevation changes, low and high grip with the track temperature changes. Obviously it gets very hot in Spain, but it can mean, you look at places like Portimao, the track temperatures did get really cold because of the undulation, stuff like that. A mixture of high speed, low speed, medium speed corners. It would be a shame to see it go from the pre-season side of things, but I'm not too fussed that it's gone off the main calendar in a few years' time.